I've been seeing a lot that Sam Kraft, who's a tailback or fullback that came onto the team a few games ago, getting a lot of praise as being a floor general. What are you seeing from film?
Well, I think he gives them a guy that's happy to be on the team, not worried about playing professional basketball, which is rare at our level. He's worried about playing professional football. So when you get a guy like that, I was around it a couple times with Connor Barwin and Brad Jackson, who both played professional football. They're just so happy to be on your team and excited to be playing basketball. The only thing they care about is the team winning. That's all they care about. So I'm sure that's what Sam Kraft is bringing to Memphis, his team, since he joined them. I'm not sure how good a football player is, but I remember him from AAU. He was a highly recruited basketball player that Josh offered out of high school. So, he's a little bit different, even though I held Connor back a little bit by not letting him shoot, but he was really a basketball player. So it's not like he's out of place out there on the floor. I mean, he could have easily, in fact, if he would have come out and played basketball, I'm sure he'd have been their starting point guard for the last, was he a junior now? I think.
Yes, he is.
So he's giving them a stabilizing force. But whenever you can add a good player that all he cares about is winning the game instead of his personal accolades, it always helps your team in any sport. So, I'm sure Josh is elated to have him.
What's Dedrick Lawson giving him?
Oh, he's just got tremendous talent. He's still a young kid, and you got to realize he moved up a year. So he back in the day, he was just a year ago, he was considered a 2016 recruit. Although maybe the top one in the country, he moved up a year. So at times you can tell that he's young. He's a young guy, even more so than the normal freshman because he skipped his senior year in high school. But whenever you got a 6'10" guy that can dribble, pass, and shoot, that's going to play in the NBA, barring injury for 10 years, it's going to help your team. So it's allowed them to really not miss Austin Nichols as much as they possibly could have.
Coach, when you've lost 6 games by an average of 4 points a game, how tough mentally has that been on your players?
I would tell you this, our guys go through a lot. Half of our team's been through a lot tougher things in life than losing a close game. So, not that I'd prefer to lose, but when you coach amateur sports, I think anytime you have a chance to help guys build their character and deal with the adversity that goes with going through tough times, it's what teachable moment. No different than the fight with Xavier years ago, to try to help those guys learn about focusing on their effort and their attitude and helping them see the bigger picture and putting them in a tough situation. It's going to help them in their life. Obviously, I'd like to win all those games. I'd eat a lot better.
But this season going forward, how much have you talked with them about the need to respond, at least at this point?
No different than if we'd have won all 4 games. What would the need have been if we were 17-2? The need would still be to beat Memphis on Thursday night. So it's not as much as people think it make it out to be. There's a fine line. I know everybody likes to sensationalize things. Where I saw where Doc jinxed Xavier. I blame Doc for Xavier's loss last night. He jinxed him. Do you lose this year? Duke's lost 3 in a row. Michigan State's got 3 losses in the Big Ten. They were number 1 in the country. It's crazy. You just got to make sure you keep getting better and try to get yourself in a position to be there in March because anything can happen, especially this year. So that's why. But regardless of our record, I kind of operate the same way with our guys and try to help them grow up and mature. And I just look at this as a challenge for our guys. That's really a teachable moment for our guys.
Are you getting better?
Oh, no doubt. But everybody is, though. See, I go here and I watch Memphis, and I saw them play as a fan sitting at home in December. And then as I go to scout them, they're a different team than they were a month ago, or especially 6 weeks ago. That tough loss at South Carolina, real tough loss at UConn, where I thought they played really well in both games. And they showed a lot of character to come back and win their home game against Temple in the last minute. So I just think everybody's getting better.
In what ways do you think you've gotten better?
Well, our defense is obviously in the last 5 games. I think Temple had 56 in regulation. So, you know, in regulation play, we're averaging giving up about 55, 56 points a game against good teams. So, and I thought South Florida hit 4, I know they hit 4 desperation shots against us, or they'd have been in the low 40s.
How do you guys get it, I don't want to say turned around, but get on a run? What do you need to do? Is there anything that you need to?
Win the game?
No,
No, I mean, you got to strengthen. No,
shooting,
every game's
boxing
different. Every game's different. You know, when you lose close games, you can point to, I get frustrated about a call. A player gets frustrated about a missed shot. I mean, there's so many things when you lose a game, you know, by 1 or 2, overtime or regulation. You know, I think at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. You're trying to be more efficient on offense. You got to keep defending. What I would say is, I look at the whole game, not just the end of the game. So, like, I give you one area. I think Shaq Thomas has got to produce more for us, and he's capable of it. He's got to get more offensive rebounds. He's very capable of rebounding from his wing position and giving us some more production for the minutes that he's out there. Like this, I mean, but with each guy, there's things that I give them that I think that they are capable of being better at constantly. And then that'll change the outcome in a whole, instead of just saying, hey, you know, we got to do this at the end of the game. I mean, you know, that's a shot going in or not going in for us or the other team that you can't really control. You got to look at things that guys are capable of and that they can do on a consistent basis. And that's where it comes in, is being more consistent.
For people that haven't seen Memphis, what do you need to do?
Oh, they got the, you know, similar to the years, you know, it's going to be no different than the other Memphis teams that come in. They're very talented, very athletic. They play very fast. Great transition team. If you turn the ball over against them, they'll convert very quickly. And then Shaq Goodwin's is, he's as good a low post guy as there is in our league. 4-year starter for them. I don't know, it looks to me like he's around 6'9", 250 now. And he can get your big guys in big foul trouble. I think coming into this game, they're top 5 in the country in free throws attempted, Memphis. So we've got to do a good job of not let them attack the rim and get us in foul trouble.
They've struggled to shoot.
There are three, yeah, in league, well, again, it goes, you should look at trends. In league play, they're shooting it a little better, but like they're shooting it way better at the foul line. In league play, they're shooting 80% from the foul line. But, you know, they're a streaky three-point shooting team.
So if they're not a very good shooting team, the last thing you want to do is put them on the line.
Correct. But we've seen so many guys hit threes against us that don't hit them. You mean, it just happens. So you can't just not guard people. But they're hard to keep off the line because of their quickness and speed going to the basket. There's a reason everybody knows that they get fouled and they're still getting fouled because of the way they're really, they got great speed, but their offense has been committed this year to a dribble drive to attack the paint and attack the rim to get fouled on purpose. So it's by design as well, and it plays into their personnel. It's a smart move on their coach's part.
Is there a reason why so many teams have made three-pointers against you? Some of the guys just don't make them usually? Is it the defense on the perimeter?
You know, you hope it all averages out with the basketball guys, but when guys shoot 28%, hit shots 5 feet behind the line guarded.
But you're okay with your D, the level of pressure?
I mean, well, like I said, our last 5 games, we're giving up 55 or so points a game. You know, I'd like to see us be a little bit more into taking the attempt away late in the clock.
Mick, I have one question off this
Sure.
here. Can you talk about the impact that Jaron Cumberland can have on the team next year, and what type of player you thought he was?
Well, I thought he was clearly the best player in Ohio when we recruited him. I thought that for a couple of years. I think what he gives us is toughness. You know, his talent is, I think, vastly underrated nationally, probably because he's from a small town in Ohio. If he was in Cincinnati playing high school basketball, he'd have been a McDonald's All-American, much like Chris Kingsbury and Damon Flint were. He's a dominant player. I mean, he can score going to the basket. He can make shots. But what I would say, the biggest thing that excites me about him is his toughness. I've said this all along. I've seen him in games with the best players in the country, and I've seen him draw charges. I've seen him come out of a scrum with a loose ball with 6 people. And I've seen guys that I respect, like Matt Painter and Frank Martin, the guys like me that like tough guys, come running over to me after the game saying, well, I wish we'd have signed that guy. You know, he's that kind of guy. So, you know, his competitive fight to go with his talent is, I think, what makes him a special player. And that's why he's dominating the high school scene in Ohio. You got it.
Mick, I'm only curious real quick, just because you know your team better than anyone else, people have wondered, what will it take for this team to close in those close games? How do you think
Well, it would take, I don't know, it would take the same thing that we did against VCU, Nebraska, GW. We've closed a lot of games. That's what I would tell you, in my opinion. Just nobody closes every game, especially this year. So what I would say is we've closed out some very good wins in neutral sites and on the road. I think people tend to focus on the skies falling sometimes, or on the losses. You know, I think you got to be fair to the guys. You got to look at the plays that were made in games where we won the game and closed out the game. So,
have you guys focused on anything different offensively? I mean, I know you can only simulate, you know, situations in practice, doesn't always translate to the game, but has your message offensively changed from the beginning of the season?
No, not really. No, it's just you got to be more efficient as the year goes on, because opposing defenses get better. Everybody's you got guys defensively. If a guy can't play, he's not in the game anymore, or the coach has figured out how to hide him, and then they figure out what your strengths are offensively, and they try to take them away. Opposing defenses, that is. So it does become much harder to score. And then the game does get more physical in January every year after Christmas. So I think you see that everywhere, where it gets much tougher on everybody. And then right now you see a lot of things going on, different upsets, and teams have to kind of reassess how you were scoring in December. You maybe can't score that way anymore in January and February, and that's where adjustments come in, and the kids got to realize, okay, the teams are taking A and B away, we got to go to C. But I think that's for everybody. So you're always trying to improve and adjust to the way teams are defending you. And for us, it's inside, because people try to really load up on us on the interior, because our big guys can score.
So obviously the obvious answer would be no going inside, but for you, when do you feel that this team is most effective and efficient?
No doubt, just like everybody else, but early in the shot clock when we're on the run. Early in the shot clock when we're on the run, and you know, I think it's just something we got to get back to. We've played a host of games. We've played 19, where most teams have played 16. And we had to just try to grind it out. I think our guys got a little worn down, to be honest with you. Trying to get through and grind it. The break, we've had a little bit of a break. For us, has been a huge break to not play since Saturday. So get the guys some rest, and then try to get back to where we're not just getting rest and playing a game, where we've had some time to just worry about us getting better for a few days instead of just getting ready for the next game.